Random House Audio presents The Angel Inside, Michelangelo's Secrets for Following Your Passion and Finding the Work You Love by Chris Widener. This is the author, Chris Widener. Chapter 1, Finding the Angel Inside You. Every person has this tremendous capacity to be both king and warrior, a person of value and a person of accomplishment, of beauty and power. Tom Cook had come to Europe looking for direction, but with only one day left on his trip, he was reluctantly coming to the conclusion that it may have evaded his grasp. Feeling frustrated with the way things were going at work and at home, he had planned a 2-week getaway vacation that he had hoped would clear his head and give him the opportunity to do some soul-searching. Ultimately, he believed that his time away from the United States would relieve the pressure he felt at work and allow him to make some thoughtful decisions about his future. He had already been to England, France, and Spain, but had yet to gain any real clarity about himself or where his career was headed. He was still as confused as he'd been the day he flew out of JFK. Today was his third and final day in Florence, Italy, the last city on his itinerary, and his time there was almost gone. But then something happened. Florence, Firenze, city of romance, art, food, and wine. Most who go there are overwhelmed by its beauty. The greatest masterpieces in the world can be found in its museums. Some of the most famous, creative, and influential names in history were born and made their lives here. It is, in all its glory, a cultural hub of history and art beyond comparison. Tom had imagined it would be the perfect place to find direction, joy, and inspiration. It was early afternoon, and he was sitting on a bench in a bustling plaza. He was tired. Tired of traveling, tired of searching, tired of life, just tired. As he sat with his heavy backpack on the ground at his feet, Tom watched a vast sea of people coming and going, running around just as they did back home. Some of the people seemed happy, others looked like they were in a frenzy to be somewhere else, while still others walked along with their love, gazing into each other's eyes. But all Tom saw was a sea of people that brought more questions than answers. Where are they going? What do they look forward to? Are they really happy? He hated to admit it, but he was a cynic at 30. He certainly wasn't happy and couldn't imagine that anyone else could be either. Life just didn't work that way. As he sat, his head slowly drifted downward into his hands as he lost eye contact with the crowd around him. He was among many, but was somehow still alone. Then, just as he was feeling sorry for himself, a voice spoke. My, you look much too young and handsome to be so sad of heart, the voice said. Tom looked up, barely, to see who had interrupted his self-pity. It was an old man. Out of courtesy, he slowly raised his head, still not saying anything. His eyes locked on the old man, surveying him. The old man was an exercise in contrast. On one hand, he looked rough. On the other hand, he had an elegant air about him. He was old, that was for sure. 70 maybe, 75. His unruly dark hair and scruffy beard looked ready for a trip to the barber. Medium height, thin, but with large biceps and pillar-like forearms that seemed out of place on the old man's body. His craggy face and calloused hands had a blue-collar look about them. But the old man's clothes revealed the taste of a connoisseur. You could tell he wasn't buying off the rack at the corner store. This was a man who knew a tailor or two. An expensive beret topped his head, and wild as it was, his hair peeked out from underneath with an artistic flair. He wore a beautifully patterned silk shirt that flowed down to the top of natty slacks. His leather shoes were impeccable. The old man spoke again. Yes, you are sad, I can tell. He didn't ask permission before sitting down next to Tom. Tom couldn't believe this was happening. He was still caught up in being alone and depressed. But I can also see that you certainly have much to be happy about. Tell me, what is your name? Tom. Tom? Tom? Thomas? Yes, Thomas. Ah, yes, I see, like the doubter, the old man grinned. You are doubting, aren't you? Doubting Thomas. What are you doubting, Thomas? Tom thought, what am I doubting? This is crazy. I have a crazy Italian sitting next to me. Finally, he said, well, I appreciate your concern, but I'm not really doubting anything. Pardon me, Thomas. I know you must find this intrusive, but I have intuition for these kinds of things. I've been around now for a very long time. I've seen much. I see that you are doubting, but perhaps you do not like that word. Well then, what is it that burdens you this day, Thomas? Tom decided to humor the old man. What could it hurt? After all, things couldn't get worse. Well, let's see. I just turned 30, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be in my career. My boss thinks I have zero career potential. At least it sure comes across that way because he keeps sticking me with jobs that no one else wants. My job seems like a treadmill that will never get me to where I want to go. My girlfriend just dumped me because I don't have enough upside, as she calls it. Even my parents wonder when I'm going to begin to make something of myself. Frankly, I'm beginning to believe I'm useless. A young couple walked by and asked the old man if he would take their picture. He obliged, and they quickly posed for him. When he was finished, he returned their camera, and they bounded down the street, laughing giddily. The old man turned back to Thomas. Useless, I see, said the old man. That does sound disheartening. I can see why you would be sad, even in this beautiful city. Most people here, especially the tourists, are happy. He paused and then asked, How long have you been in Florence? This is my 3rd day. 3 days, that is wonderful. When do you depart? Tomorrow morning at 6:30. Oh, not much time left then. Have you taken in any of the art? The old man then asked. Sure, Tom replied. I took a quick tour. What would a trip to Florence be without seeing the art, right? You make a very good point, young Thomas. I myself think that the art is the most important reason to come to Florence. I assume then that you saw Michelangelo's work, the David, Il Gigante, as they call it, the giant. Yeah, sure, that's one of the biggies, right? No pun intended. Yes, it is, the biggest in my opinion. And tell me, Thomas, what did you learn from the David? Learn? I didn't learn anything. I saw it. He was huge, naked. It was great. I left. Oh my, you didn't learn anything from Il Gigante? The old man looked at his watch. It is 1 o'clock. Come now, we haven't much time. The old man began to stand as he said this. Thomas looked up. Come where? For what? He was perfectly happy sitting right where he was. Now this old wannabe sage wanted to drag him off on an unscheduled tour. To go see Il Gigante, of course. There is so much to learn from him and from Michelangelo. Come, you will see. Okay, this is crazy. But the old man had an endearing quality about him. He was harmless. And besides, what else would Tom do for the rest of the afternoon other than watch birds land on the heads of statues? Tom stood up and grabbed his backpack. Okay, I'm game, let's go. The old man beamed broadly. Fantastic, Thomas. He put one arm around Tom and then said something that took Tom aback. This day will change your life forever. With this, they began their journey to the foot of Il Gigante in the Galleria dell'Accademia. They made their way through the city, walking at a fast pace. This old guy can really move. Excuse me, can we slow down a bit? This backpack is kind of heavy. The old man barely turned back as he said, Of course, pardon me. I'm just excited to have you see Il Gigante again. Yet his pace slowed down very little. Down the street, cross a bridge, a right turn, and then a left. Tom hadn't thought it was so far away. The old man took him through an open market where he paused just long enough to buy some bread from a merchant he obviously knew. He broke it in half and handed a piece to Tom. Enjoy, he said, as he headed off again. Tom wished he could stay and bask in the aroma of the baked goods. That had been his favorite part of Florence, the smells of the wine, the cheese, the bread, and the fruit. I should have eaten a bigger lunch. Every now and then the old man would say hello to someone or pat someone on the back as they went by. Finally they arrived at the Galleria dell'Accademia, skirting the line and going directly to the entrance. The women in the ticket office seemed to know the old man and waved them on. Tom had been here a couple of days ago. As he had mentioned to the old man, he had come because that's what tourists do when they come to Florence. They look in awe at the David. Somehow it hadn't struck him as awesome when he had come before. This time was different, though. It seemed otherworldly. It was a strange feeling. This time he noticed the soaring ceiling, the beauty of the room, and the sound of the hollowness of the space. People spoke little in the presence of the David. They just looked at the statue for a moment. Then the old man said with a sense of wonder, Isn't it beautiful? Just grand. It's big, that's for sure. Yes, it really is a giant, 13.5 feet tall. It took Michelangelo 28 months to sculpt him.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?